My name is Tim Lawrence and I'm the lead bicycle technician here at Paragon Sports. All of the bikes that we sell at Paragon come with lifetime tune-ups, which means that people should bring their bike in about every 500 miles or at least 2 times a year. All of our basic tune-ups are going to include gear adjustments in both our rear derailleur and our front derailleur, brake adjustments, whether they're a disc brake or they're a rim brake, and then oiling the chain, cleaning and wiping down the entire bike, making sure that all the functional parts of the bike are working, safe, and operating well. For my tune-ups, I always work from the top to the bottom, to the back to the front of the bike. So I always start with checking to make sure the wheels are in the frame and correctly aligned. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to work on my rear drivetrain. I'm going to check both my low limits up in the easiest gear here, make sure I'm not shifting into the spokes, which I am close to, so I'm just going to adjust that limit in a little bit, and all the way down to this high limit to make sure that I'm not dropping off of that chain. Then I'm going to check my indexing, which is how much cable is pulled in between each gear. I should be going down very smoothly and very up and holding the gear firmly. Alright, so next we're just going to go through. I'm going to oil all the pivot points on this rear derailleur to make sure that anywhere where metal and metal is contacting, that everything is rolling smoothly. Just a little bit of tri-flow is great. I even use this for squeaky doors around the house. Just a very simple oil. So once I'm satisfied with that rear derailleur, I'm going to move up to my front derailleur. It's going to be right over here. Once again, I'm checking my limits, adjusting them. Make sure there's no rub on the rear derailleur in the combination of the lowest gears. Then bring it all down into the highest gears, the hardest push. Check again, make sure there's no rubbing on that front derailleur. I have my trim and my downshift. Everything's running smooth. Follow it back up with some oil. Again, hitting all the main pivot points. And run it a couple of times to really work any of that oil back into the system. So, adjusting the rear brake pads here on these disc brakes, I can see by looking down at the pad that it still has a good bit of life in it. If Zach had already gone through his rear brake pad, what I would do is give him a call, tell him the different options that he has for replacements, and then allow him to make a choice. Again, because service is free at Paragon, we wouldn't charge him for the install, but we would charge him for the price of the new parts. Same would go for a person that's punctured an inner tube or needs to replace a tire. In this situation though, I can adjust it, give it a little bit more tension, and he'll feel like he's got almost brand new brake pads here. So every basic tune-up at Paragon includes a light truing of the wheels. So when the rim is a little bit out of true, it's not running perfectly straight, we put the wheel here in the truing stand, and then when we hear the wheel rubbing against one side of the fork here, we're going to then adjust the tension on these spokes to either pull or release tension to bring that wheel back into true. Now, it is more important to have a wheel with even spoke tension than to have a wheel that is perfectly true, because that wheel with even spoke tension on each side throughout the wheel will actually stay true longer than a wheel that is perfectly true but spoke tension is very crazy. So that's why it's more important to always bring the wheel in so that we can take a look at it before these things get out of control. To keep your bike in good working order, you want to oil your chain very often, and you want to air your tires every time you ride. So the last thing I'll do, spray the bike down with a little bit of simple green, give it a final little wipe down, and then a little bit of polish to make sure it's looking good to get out there. For the Paragon Sports Bicycle Department, be sure to check us out at paragonsports.com and 18th and Broadway here in Manhattan.